Have you considered the volume of effort it's going to take you to achieve your goals? See, this is something many people don't take into account, is how much effort is really needed to achieve what they really want in life. And as we're nearing toward the end of our 90 days together, or at least our 90-day experiment, because remember, it's still going to continue on from here. But as we edge toward this 90 days, I want you to think about going into the next 90 days, the volume of effort is going to take you to achieve your goals. Think about it this way. The amount of effort that you put into this 90 days, how far has it gotten you right now? Did you achieve your goals? Did you surpass them quite easily? Or did you not even get close, but you learned a lot? Or did you make more headway than you thought you would? See, sometimes knowing how much effort it's going to take to get from point A to point B, we can't really know until we experience it. And if it was so easy that you just accomplished it like that, clearly the goal wasn't hard enough for you. It was something that you could do in if it was something that you could do with a couple of tries, then you were clearly already good enough to do that anyway. It didn't cause you to have to grow. It doesn't cause you to have to push outside your comfort zone. And to really get to the next level, that's what's necessary. And it requires a volume of action. But let's talk about that for a little bit. Because a volume of action, a lot of times, I don't think it's that people don't want to take that action. It's that they don't realize that they're not doing it in the first place. See, it's easy enough to say, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to reach my dreams. I'm willing to do the hard hours, the long days. I don't care. I'm willing to do anything it takes. Then when it comes time to put up, they might do it for a couple of days and then they forgot. They needed a day off. They needed a break. They weren't consistent, whatever the case may be. What they didn't realize is what that volume of action actually entailed. And then there's also people that look at it and say, when you realize what the real volume of action is that's required for you to get your goal, some people say, I shouldn't have to work that hard. It shouldn't be this difficult. There's an easier way to do this. So I was listening to a podcast with Gary Vee, and one of the things he was telling the person he was talking to was they were asking him, how do I make more sales? I need to make more sales in my business. It's not happening. How do I make more sales? And one of the first things he asks is, well, how many people are you talking to every single day? How many people are you talking to in a month? And they're like, 4, 5, 10. And he's going, well, there's your problem right there. You're not talking to enough people. If you want to make more sales, you got to talk to more people. You need to be talking to 90, 100 people a month. Because if you talk to 90 to 100 people a month, and maybe even more than that, that's like 3.5 people a day. And he says every single time that you're having another conversation, you have another sales conversation, you can either show up and you can be more confident. You can try a different close. You can try a different opener. You can ask a different sort of question. He goes on to say, you've got all of these different opportunities that each time you talk to somebody new, you can try something new, which gives you a lot more opportunities to take a swing at it. So to use a baseball analogy, let's look at this if we were trying to hit a home run, right? How many times would you give yourself to do it? How many tries at bat would you get? Now let's look at it this way too. If we are basing success off of how many runs we make, meaning single, double, triple, and home runs, how many times at bat do you want to give yourself? Would you give yourself only 5 times at bat? Or 10? Or 20? How about 50? Or maybe even 100, right? The more times that you have at bat, the more chance you have of racking up those runs and being the winner, of succeeding and getting to where you want to be. But that just shows what you got to do. The amount of times that you get up to take a swing. See, that's every single time you have a phone call with somebody. Every single time you reach out to somebody new. Every time that you do another piece of writing, and you publish it to the internet. Each of those times is taking another swing. So how many swings are you willing to give yourself? See, some people are only willing to do 2 or 3 before giving up. If you really truly want to win, how many times at bat do you want to give yourself? Now let's look at gold medalist, multi gold medalist, swimmer Michael Phelps. So Michael Phelps swam every single day for years. Now, why did he do that? Because he knows he's creating a habit. He knows he's constantly in training for the Olympics. And the more chances that he gives himself, the more times he's in the water, the more volume that he does, and the more hours he clocks in the pool, the better he's going to be. And from what I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but that he believed if he missed a day and he broke the chain, that would be the reason that he wouldn't win. So it was a very high emotional content on him to constantly be in the water every single day. But again, this speaks to the volume of effort that he was putting into this. Just like any sort of Olympian, they're not training just 2 days a week for an hour and a half at a shot. They're training every single day. The regimen that they follow, both dietary and physical, is huge. Why is it so big? Because if you want to compete on a great level, you've got to put in a great amount of work, far more than you would think. So this leads me to something I've been thinking about. I've got this idea I call the ratio of success, meaning what is the ratio of times you've got to try to times you've got to win in order to make it worth doing. Meaning, if we're going to take our baseball analogy, if I stepped up to the plate and swung the bat, how many times do I need to swing the bat and how many times do I need to connect with the ball in order to make it worth it? Is it 1-to-1? Every single time I swing the bat, I got to hit the ball? Is it 1-to-5? Every time I swing the bat, I can swing it 5 to, or is it 5-to-1? If I got to swing the bat 5 times in order to hit once. What is the ratio of success for you? If we're taking it as far as sales calls and making more sales, how many sales calls will you take to get one person to say yes? Is it 5? Is it 10, 20, 50, 100 people just to get one yes? How committed to this are you? How obsessed with it are you? How big of a volume of work are you willing to put into it? Because this is what it is. This is the ratio of success. What is it that makes it feel like it's actually worth it to you? Because for some people, it's kind of 1-to-1. I want to be able to take one swing and be able to hit it every single time. And we all know that that is not even close to being realistic, especially if you're just starting. If you're just starting, you're building up your skills. You're going to be terrible at first. Just expect that. That's going to happen for the first 10 hours that you're practicing. It's going to be god awful. But once you get to 20 hours, you're going to have a better idea on what you're doing. Then as you keep going and you get closer to that 100-hour mark, you're going to be better than 95% of people. But the point is most people have trouble getting through that first 10 hours. They hate it. They don't like it because it's tough. It's outside of their comfort zone. And it's saying, I'm experiencing more times of failing than I am of winning. And that's not okay with me. Which kind of brings me back to what Gary Vee was talking about because he used the word entitlement. He was saying some of these people just feel so entitled, like they shouldn't have to put 90 phone calls in to get one person. That they're not willing to put that work in order to be successful, and saying, this is what you've got to do. This is how you've got to play the game. You've got to figure out the way this works through experience, not just trying to find that one magic bullet, that one magic script that works on every single person the first time out of the gate. You're going to suffer in this. You're going to fail. You're going to fall down more times than you win. But what's the success ratio for you that is acceptable? How many times are you willing to fail before getting that first win? That, my friend, that is going to show you how much you really want it. And it's going to determine how successful you become. Because realize you're going to fail far more times than you succeed. But it's sticking with it. It's sticking with it when everyone else has already quit because their success ratio was minuscule. See, the wider net that you cast, the more chance you have of winning. And that's a secret advantage for you, to be able to consistently show up when everybody else has already quit, to be willing to fail more times than your competition and still keep going, to be able to say, I had 100 terrible ideas, but I had one that really worked. And I was willing to go through those 99 terrible ideas in order to find that one that solidly worked. Think about that. The bigger ratio that you give yourself, the bigger amount of times at bat that you give yourself to swing, the better the chance that you're going to win because you have more times at bat. You have more chances to win. So start thinking about that for the next 90 days. See, the next 90 days is going to be so important because it's a continuation from what you're already doing. It's a chance for you to win at an even higher level. As you go through the next 90 days, you think about this as, what can I do each day at a high volume? Now, I've got a really cool idea that I'm going to be doing for the next 90 days, which is going to be reaching out to more people. Now, this is something that I wanted to do in this 90 days, and I didn't quite get to it. But now it's going to be my main focus and the main focus of my documentation for the next 90 days. It's going to be reaching out to as many people as I can in a day. Now, my goal is to do 100 outreaches for 100 days and documenting all of it. Now, this is going to be extremely outside of my comfort zone, and it's going to take, I'm estimating, about 4 hours per day to do, which at the end of that is going to add up to 400 hours, which is a massive investment in time. But the idea behind this is saying, I'm going to do something so much, I'm going to do such a high volume of effort that it's going to be completely unreasonable for me not to get better at it, which is the same thing for any skill. You got to do it enough that it's absolutely unreasonable that you're not going to get better at it. Now, will you be the best in the world? Probably not, because there's people that have been doing it for much longer than you. But will you be a lot better than you were at the very beginning? Absolutely. And that's the same thing with these videos. Creating more videos, creating better videos, and getting just a little bit better every single time. And that's what I'm focused on. That's what I want you to focus on over the next 90 days as well. Now, here's one of the main points I want you to take away from this video. In the beginning, you're going to have to do a high volume of work. But I don't want you to feel entitled like Gary Vee was saying. I don't want you to feel entitled like you shouldn't have to do the grunt work. You shouldn't have to do things that are just boring and tedious and monotonous, because this is where your advantage is. And it's your advantage because all the other people, all the rest of your competition isn't willing to do it. They're not willing to put that time in. And when you feel entitled to things just working out easily right from the beginning, when you feel that you're already too good in order to put in the grunt work, that's when you start wasting a massive amount of time looking for the easier way. This is where people start looking for buying more courses, watching more videos, getting more information before they ever start, because they think, I don't want to have to do the grunt work. There has to be an easier way to do this. And the longer that you try to find the easier way, the more time you waste when you could just be putting in that focused effort. Is it grunt work? Absolutely. But it's your advantage because the rest of the world isn't willing to do it. And this is where you have a chance to get ahead. Now you might say, but Max, I'm not at the beginning. I've been doing this for 90 days. I've already achieved a certain level of success. Maybe you've been doing this for a couple of years, maybe even a couple of decades. But realize this, we're always at the beginning. This is why I'm saying, don't be afraid to do the grunt work now. That is what's going to set you apart from everybody else. We're always at the beginning. No matter how far you've gone, you're still at the beginning because we're at a new level. We've broken through where we used to be, and now we're at the new level with new challenges, new things for us to overcome. And we can't get to the next level with the mindset that got us to the level we're at now. You're solving new problems with a new mindset. But that means you've got to start at the beginning. That means you got to be in there. You can't be afraid to get your hands dirty. You can't be afraid to put in that long hours, that long effort, that time commitment. You can't be afraid to fall on your face. You got to be ready to keep swinging that bat again and again and again. Because if you're looking for success, how many chances are you going to give yourself to succeed? You're only going to give yourself one chance to succeed? And if you don't, then you're just quitting? Are you going to give yourself 5 chances? 10? 100? The more chances you give yourself to succeed, the more times you show up and you take action, the better the chance that you're going to win. And if you give yourself a large enough success ratio, a large enough amount of times that you're willing to fail before getting just one win, the better the chance that you have of winning. And the longer the time that you give yourself to do it, the bigger and better that your dream can be and that you can actually achieve. Because you deserve this, but you've got to be willing to put in that volume of work. And I think it's important to understand what that volume of work is right now so you know what the next 90 days can look like and even should look like. Because again, don't be afraid of that grunt work. Don't be what Gary Vee calls being entitled. Feeling like you shouldn't have to hone your skills, that you shouldn't have to do all the grunt work, all the difficulty, spending all the time and the effort doing things that you don't even know if it's going to succeed. But that's where you separate yourself from everybody else. Because you're willing to do it. You're willing to commit. You're willing to become obsessed with it. That is your key. As long as you have that, I promise you, you will succeed. Giving yourself enough time and enough volume of effort, you can succeed at anything. This is some food for thought for your next 90 days as you're planning that, as I hope you are, because those 90 days are coming to an end real quick, and the next 90 are going to start, and we want to get going immediately, like we never missed a beat, because that's where we're going to win, and we're going to win big. So I'm super excited about this. I really hope you took something away from this video. I will see you here tomorrow because I'm going to hold you accountable as I know you're holding me accountable. So we're going to meet here same time, same place. And until then, there's a volume of action out there. So take action now.